Hi, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Jen and I'm delighted to meet you. I recently made a video about a weight loss challenge that I've created for myself to lose 25 pounds by 2025. So I'm calling it 25 by 25. I know, I'm very clever. In that video, I listed the 5 things that I'm going to do every day to help me achieve this goal. Now, if you want more details, go back and watch that video, but here's a little recap of the 5 things I'm going to do. One is keep my calories between about 2,000 and 2,200 per day, and this is going to be on a carnivore diet. 2, I'm going to meal prep most of my meals for each day of the week. 3, I'm going to avoid sweet tastes. I'm going to avoid sweet tastes, so chewing gum and flavored delicious drinks, things like that. Number 4, I'm going to lift weights heavily 3 times a week. And number 5 is I'm going to walk at least 10,000 steps per day. In that video, I gave more details, but I didn't want to get into the weeds deeply on a few things. So this is the follow-up video that I promised. So today we're going to discuss 2 main things. One is exactly how I determined my calorie target and how you potentially could too if you want to do something similar. And then the other thing we're going to talk about is exactly what I'm doing for my weightlifting program and how you could do that too if you want. So here's the thing. I think lots of people say, this is what I did to lose weight. And then people say, oh, I'm going to do that exact thing. But it hardly ever works that way. We're all so different. We have different needs. We have different lifestyles. I think if you don't know how and why to create something similar for yourself, but not exactly the same, then I think for many people, it's going to be setting up for failure. So that's my hope for this video, is that we can avoid that. Now, over the next several months, I will be doing lots of check-ins to let you know how things are going, if I've made any changes to anything, and I'll also do a lot of videos for you on how I do my meal prepping. So you can have some different ideas for meal prep, see how I put it all together, all of that good stuff. So if you don't want to miss that and you haven't already, please subscribe and you will be the first to see all that. Now let's just dive right in, and I will start by telling you how I figured out my calorie target. I like to use the NASM, NASM, I think it's National Academy of Sports Medicine, their body weight planner calculator, because I find it to be reasonably accurate, and I feel like it's not just some random calculator out there. There's some research behind the development of it. I've put the website right here for you if you want to know what it is, but I'll also put a clickable link in the description for you. Now I'm going to show you exactly what it looked like on my phone when I plugged in all my information into that calculator, and I want to get it right, so I've written it down and I'm going to kind of read it for you, okay? For the calculator, you will put in your name, sex, current weight, height, and age. I'm plugging in my weight from this morning, which was 184 pounds, but just for reference, my highest recent weight was about 190. So I'm already kind of on the road toward my goal here. Now, based on the information that you plug in, the calculator uses the Mifflin-St. Jeor equation, which is what determines your basal metabolic rate. That is the amount of calories that you burn just by being alive, regardless of if you get up and walk, if you do exercise, whatever, just by existing. That's how many calories you burn per day. Now, the next thing you'll enter is your activity level. And I want you to hear this. In the past, I've often put my activity level in these calculators as sedentary, even though I'm not sedentary. But the point is that if you pick sedentary, it's going to spit out for you a calorie goal that's on the low end, because it's not going to account for any exercise. And so in my mind, I've always been like, well, I'll get the lower calorie restriction, like I'll get that recommendation, and then any exercise that I do will just be bonus and I'll lose weight even faster. But I have learned time and time again that anytime I try to restrict my calories, there are repercussions. Usually I can stick to it for a short bit of time and then I just go bonkers, at least overeating, if not actually full on binging. So I've learned, again, over and over and over, that my baseline level of calories when I'm trying to restrict has to be higher than the bare minimum. So I'm going to be honest with this calculator today and put in something that actually predicts my activity level. So kind of a moderate level of activity. That judgment is based on the fact that I weightlift 3 times a week, I walk 10,000 steps a day, and I'm a physical therapist in a hospital. I work 12-hour shifts, so I'm really pretty active at work too. So I think it's fair to say that I'm at least moderately active. Going any higher than that might be a bit of a stretch on my less active days, so I'm just going to put it right there in the middle. Once I assign that as my activity level, the calculator tells me that I'm burning about 2,411 calories per day. That's my TDEE, or total daily energy expenditure. So if you hear people sometimes talking about BMR and TDEE, this is what we're talking about. Again, BMR is basal metabolic rate. That's the amount of calories that you burn just by existing. And then TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, is your BMR plus additional calories that you would burn through activity. Now, there are some calculators out there that are even more sophisticated because they can guess your BMR even more closely if you can enter your body fat percentage. It's just that most people don't know their exact body fat percentage, so I didn't use one of those more sophisticated calculators for users' sake. Next, I entered my goal weight, which I'm putting in 160 pounds. And I'd like to put January 1st, 2025 as my goal date to reach that, but it only lets me go out 180 days. So I guess my goal is to reach this weight by December 6th. The next page here shows some different tweaks that you can make with macros. So if you don't know what I mean by that, just it can give you some guidance on how many grams per day to eat of your protein, your fat, and your carbs. But you have to put in your goal ratio, I guess. I don't actually find this that useful personally because I know I'm going to be on a carnivore diet. I know I'm going to be getting tons of protein, tons of fat, and 1 to 2 cups of raw milk per day. So 15 to 30 grams of carbs per day. But just so you can see it, I'm going to plug in some different numbers here and just kind of see what the calculator tells me. So just for shiggles, as I recently heard my friend Courtney Luna say, I'm putting in here that I want to have 35% of my calories come from protein, 6% from carbs, and 59% from fat. Basically, I was trying to shoot for like a 60-40 fat to protein ratio, but since there's a little bit of carbs in there, it kind of messes it up. So that's the last bit of information you have to put in. You can see it's really quick and easy, and then I'll show you my results. Again, I'm going to read these because I want to get them right. So it shows that my BMR, my basal metabolic rate, is 1,555 calories per day, and my TDEE, or my total daily energy expenditure, is 2,411 calories per day. And then there's this chart here that will show what should happen with my weight over time if I follow the recommendations it gives me. And we'll come back and revisit this because there's some good stuff here. But let's keep going down, and we'll see that based on the calculator, given that I want to get down to 160 pounds and I want to do that within 180 days, it tells me that I basically should be eating almost exactly 2,200 calories per day in order to achieve that goal. So honestly, when I decided for myself I wanted to be eating between 2,000 and 2,200 calories per day, that wasn't exactly with this calculator, though I have used it before, so I had a ballpark idea. But it was based on this ballpark idea, as well as knowing that recently I tried to do 1,800 calories a day and it wasn't quite enough. I wasn't feeling quite satiated with any of my meals. I always just wanted a little bit more, and I was losing weight, but I couldn't stick to it. So just you can get to this through trial and error, or you can skip some of the error, hopefully, and go right to the calculator. Now, along with that calorie goal, since I did adjust those macros specifically, the calculator will give me a target of grams per day of each macronutrient to eat. Now, again, I'm not really going to follow that, but here's what it told me I should do. It's suggesting that I have about 33 grams of carbs per day, 144 grams of fat, and 192 grams of protein. Now, I'm not going to use that. I know that I'm most days going to get about 15 grams of carbs from milk, and then my protein and fat, they go up and down a little bit, basically depending on how I'm feeling and specifically how I'm pooping. So if my poops are a little bit hard and less frequent, then I will increase the fat for the next week. If everything's going perfectly, maybe even a little more on the diarrhea side, then the next week I will decrease fat. I don't find that I'm making these adjustments very often. It's just something that I keep in my back pocket for if I need it. Otherwise, I just basically eat what I want when it comes to carnivore foods. Now let's go back up and look to that graph, because that's kind of fun to look at. So according to the graph, it looks like I should be losing about 5 pounds per month, which I know is not super fast, but I also know that fast weight loss means a pretty big calorie restriction for me, and that means I'm going to have a really hard time sticking with it. So I'm actually kind of encouraged by the speed of the weight loss here. And it's fun to sort of chart out what things are going to look like in the future if you're having success in following this. So for example, I can look and say, oh, in September, I'm going to weigh 170, which is less than I've weighed in years. So that's super exciting. And if everything goes pretty much on track as planned, I won't necessarily plan to change anything when it comes to these 5 things that I've mentioned that I'm doing. I won't necessarily consider changing my calories or anything because everything will be going perfectly. But, things don't always go perfectly. So there are a couple of situations where I can foresee making a change. And here's what I'm thinking. Now, if my weight loss is significantly slower than predicted, let's say I get to 175 pounds, but it takes me 2 months to get there and then I'm stuck there for a month. What I will do is go back into the calculator and refigure all the numbers with that current weight of 175 instead of the 184 that I put in this morning. The reason why is because when you change your weight, when your weight's lower, your BMR and your TDEE are going to be a little bit lower. It's not going to be significant, probably a percentage point or something lower, but that will give me some guidance on how to just a little bit decrease the calories I'm eating each day based on my weight at that time, just to try to kickstart a little bit more weight loss again. On the other hand, if I'm losing weight really quickly and or having a really hard time sticking to the plan, then I will consider increasing calories a little. And when I say a little, I mean like 50 to 100 calories, something like that, 50 to 100 per day, just to increase my satiety a little bit. And I know that will probably slow down my weight, but slow weight loss is better than the no weight loss I will achieve if I can't stick to the plan. So I just have already had a little pep talk with myself that that's what I'll do if I have to. I officially started this plan on Memorial Day, which was May 27th. Today's June 9th, so that was about 2 weeks ago. And so far it's going really well. I've just been slowly losing weight, but feeling really good, feeling energized, definitely not binging. I mean, I will never binge again. I recently made a video about that. You're welcome to go back and watch. But just knowing that helps me feel so much more confident than I probably ever have when it comes to weight loss, because I always have this fear in the back of my mind of, what if I have success and then I just binge it all back on? Because I've done that dozens, maybe hundreds of times. And I just don't even have that fear anymore because I'm not going to binge. So I just feel like I'm equipped with a whole new mindset that I just sort of stumbled into. I wish I could give it to everyone else, but it's difficult. You can't, maybe watch my video, that might help, I don't know, but you also kind of have to stumble into it yourself, I think. So that's the main gist of where I came up with my calorie targets. But I'm a huge data nerd and there's a little bit more to it. So let me share a couple more things. Based on how I figured out the calorie stuff, but how I figured out some of the other goals too, like the walking 10,000 steps a day, for example. Gosh, why was that sentence so hard to get out? Let me start over. Why I chose walking 10,000 steps a day as a goal. Okay, so I use an Oura ring and an Apple Watch, which I just took off to go plug in, but I have one. And then I track so many other things too, but those are the main things that then send data to the health app on my iPhone. And so I want to show you a couple of things from my health app that helped guide me in this process. Again, I'm going to be doing a little reading because I want to get these numbers right. So regarding the 10,000 steps per day goal, when I go back and look prior to May of this year, 2024, I was walking just under 10,000 steps a day on average without trying. I was sometimes going for walks, but I wasn't making it a goal to walk 10,000 steps per day. So for that reason, I said, okay, I want to start walking 10,000 steps per day because it is a little increase from what I was doing. It's also a nice round number, that just a little something to add that doesn't completely overhaul my life. And you can see here that since May, I've done that consistently. I have not missed a day. Now, if you're being a stickler, today's number of steps is low because it's still early in the day. I haven't finished. The point is, I think it's really important to choose a goal that's a step beyond what you're doing already, but not way out there in the realm where it's like, oh my gosh, one day I'm going to mess this up and then I'm just going to give up. Like, don't do that. Don't set yourself up that way. I've done it so many times. Learn from my mistakes and don't do that to yourself. Now, the other thing I want to show you is related to the calories that I burn typically just through my exercise and activities. So again, today doesn't count because it's still early in the day, but you can see that for the last couple of weeks since starting this weight loss challenge on May 27th, I have consistently burned an average of probably around 700 calories per day. So when people inevitably respond to this video and say, 2,200 calories, that's way too much. You're never going to reach your goals. I eat 1,200 a day. That's all you need, blah, blah, blah. I respectfully disagree. But also, when I take my goal of 2,200 calories, take out the 700 calories of activity, and land right at 1,500 calories, I don't think that's a coincidence that it's basically my basal metabolic rate. And I'm no expert on this, but I think that if my net calories were significantly below my basal metabolic rate, that would have negative repercussions on my metabolism. And it would also just be sending me these starvation signals to eat more and more and more, especially after I've done that for 25 years. I've given into those signals and taught my body to do that. So bad idea. And I think I'm finally stumbling into the right amount of calories that I need to eat. On the topic of metabolism, again, not an expert on this, but I think decreasing calories way too much and losing muscle are the two worst things you can do if you're trying to lose weight, because both of those things are going to decrease your basal metabolic rate. If you're way under eating or you're losing muscle mass, you will be burning fewer calories at rest during your sleep all the time. And then it's just becoming harder and harder to lose weight because you have to eat less and less to be in a calorie deficit. So these are big things for me that I'm going to avoid, and I would highly recommend that you do the same. Now, if that doesn't answer all of your questions about how to know how many calories to eat, I don't know what to tell you. And for those who are going to say calories don't matter, especially if you're a carnivore, just eat to your heart's content. I lost all my weight. I never tracked anything. I didn't count any calories. If you fall in that camp, I'm so happy for you. You're so lucky, and I couldn't be more proud. But that is not my experience, and it's not many other people's experience too. If it's yours, feel free to disregard everything I said. Okay, now let's move on from the calorie stuff and talk about what I've been doing for weightlifting. Now, a little bit of background. I have been lifting weights pretty consistently for 25 years. Since I was about 15. I was actually a competitive powerlifter in high school, and I had some state records, specifically the state squat record. So that's a little fun fact you've probably never known about me. But yeah, so I lifted quite a bit. And then for the next 15, 20 years, I've been inconsistently consistent with weightlifting, I guess. Sometimes I'll go for a year being really good about it. Other times I'll barely do it at all. But for the last couple of years, I've been pretty consistently lifting in the gym. I also am a physical therapist, so that doesn't automatically make me a good worker-outer, good weightlifter. But I do have a lot of knowledge about biomechanics and how to modify activities and all that. So anyway, all this is just to say that I have been a pretty confident person in the gym. I know how to use all the equipment. I know what to do. I know how to work a certain muscle group, but I've been doing it and I still haven't quite been getting the results that I was after. And so this change I made has made a drastic difference for me. So for someone else who's maybe not as advanced, I feel like I shouldn't say advanced, but who's underneath my level when it comes to weightlifting, it can help you exponentially more. So that's why I want to share this today. So I've actually been working with a one-on-one trainer, but online instead of in person. And I've done in-person training a little bit in the past, but it's pretty cost prohibitive. I could never keep it up for very long. So this has been a much more reasonably priced option, but still with that one-on-one attention that is the whole point. For the last 2 months, I've been working with my trainer, whose name is Terrence, through an app called Trainwell. They were formerly known as Copilot, but they've rebranded, and I'm so proud to be partnering with them as the sponsor of this video. Here's how it works. When you sign up for an account, you will fill out a questionnaire about your goals, your experience, and all that. And then they'll match you with a personal trainer. You'll have a one-on-one video chat with your trainer to discuss any physical limitations, your goals, what equipment you have access to if you're going to be working out at home or at the gym, and all of that kind of information. And then based on that, your trainer will create a program for you. You don't have to do anything besides give feedback, and then they'll tweak and tailor as you go. So here's actually a little clip of my video chat with Terrence. So you can't hear the audio here, but I was telling him, I want to work out at the gym. I want to do 3 days a week. I want to be lifting heavy. I want to barely be able to walk or move when I get out of the gym, because that's how I can intensify my workouts, but beyond what I was already doing for myself. I told him about my diet, my carnivore diet. I told him everything. And so based on that information, he then gift wrapped for me, not really, figuratively, not literally, this workout that I just was able to start right away. Here's a little look at what the app looks like when you're working through it. You can see my scheduled workouts for the coming week here. And let's just take a peek at Monday. Terrence wrote me a full body workout for Monday, and it looks like it should take me 42 minutes to complete. And when I click on the workout, I can see a complete list of all the equipment that I need, which I will be at the gym, so it'll all be there. And then I can scroll down to see what the exercises are. So it looks like I will be doing squats, overhead presses, Bulgarian split squats, rows, push-ups, some biceps, some triceps, and a few ab exercises to finish the workout. Now I'll show you what it looks like when you're actually completing a workout. This footage is actually from a leg workout that I completed yesterday.
Up first is 8 reps of barbell deadlift with 135 pounds. Press N when you're done.
As I complete each exercise, I have a video showing exactly what the form should be, and the app keeps a timer going so I know exactly how much rest I need to have between each exercise.
In 2 minutes, do 6 reps per side of dumbbell step up with 30 pounds in each hand.
This next bit of footage shows the first few exercises I completed, and you can see the instruction videos for each one.
In 1 minute, do 12 reps of machine leg press with 270 pounds. In 3 minutes, do 15 reps of cable glute kickback with 30 pounds. Find a challenging weight on these. 10-15 reps, aim for 1. 2 away from failure.
One really great feature that I found to be lacking from other online workout apps is that while I'm doing this and I hear the audio, I can also listen to my music, which is very important. I need to be able to hear my 90s gangster rap and R&B hip hop while I'm lifting. There are a lot more features that I love about this, but for time's sake, I'll share with you just those highlights. Although one more thing I want to mention is that if you do have an Apple Watch, the app syncs with your watch and it can actually give you feedback in real time on your form. So for example, often I'll be doing bicep curls and I'm getting tired and it's like, go higher at the top. I'm like, I can't, it's so hard. Or I'll be doing rows and I'm dying and it's like, slow down. Oh my gosh, it's the worst, but it really keeps track of what you're doing because it can sense your movement. It can sense your body position, and it's really, really good at knowing when you're slacking off. So after each workout, my trainer, Terrence, and I communicate. He either gives me congratulations on how great I'm doing or some tough love on something I need to change. And I respond with some gains, something I'm really excited about, or complaining about how much I'm getting my butt kicked, something like that. But it works great. We check in before and after every single workout. So he knows exactly what I'm doing. He's advancing or changing depending on my performance and my requests. It's literally as good as having a trainer in real life at the gym. I work just as hard for him. It's really a match made in heaven, but something I can also afford. Right here, I'll just kind of scroll up and down a little bit. You can see some of our conversations, some of the ones that meant maybe the most to me, but also just the sheer volume of the conversations that we have. I cannot say enough good things about this Trainwell app or my trainer, Terrence. I feel such a sense of accountability toward him. I never skip workouts because someone else is counting on me and they're going to know. And I just leave the gym feeling like I just tried my hardest every day. That is not something that I exactly experienced frequently before when I was in charge of my own workouts. Speaking of, now I don't have to be the one to write everything and figure out what to do and how to do it and when. Like, it's all just prepared for me. It's so much better, so much easier. It's like doing meal prep, except someone else does all the prep for you and then you just have to eat it. I have loved this experience so much that I decided to team up with Trainwell to offer you a free 14-day trial just to see if you like it. So you'll fill out the questionnaire, you'll have your one-on-one meeting with your trainer, and then they'll write your workouts. You'll have 2 weeks to try it. To sign up, you can click the link in the description or you can go to
trytrainwell.net/delighted.
I am quite certain that you'll love it as much as me, but if you don't, you're not out anything. Now, one last thing I want to mention. If your goal for using something like this is not the same as mine, if it's not to lift heavy and work your booty off in the gym 3 days a week, that's fine. That will all be uncovered during your questionnaire and your one-on-one visit with your trainer. So whatever you have in mind for your fitness and your activities that you want to do, that's perfectly fine and they can accommodate that. So don't feel like if it doesn't look like me, you can't do it, because that's not true. We made it to the end. I am really, really hopeful that the amount of detail I provided was helpful, because I don't think it's useful to just follow exactly what I'm doing or follow exactly what anyone else is doing, because we're all different. We all have different goals, different everything. And so I want you to know the why behind what you're doing, the how exactly. And I want you to choose things to do that are meaningful to you, they're achievable, and that you can actually stick to potentially forever. I think those are the main points here. So what I'm doing, I mean, maybe we'll give you some examples, but your program, your lifestyle should look at least a little bit different. Okay, just another little recap. So the 5 things that I'm doing as part of my weight loss challenge 25 by 25, I am eating between 2,000 and 2,200 calories per day. I'm weightlifting heavy 3 days a week. I'm walking 10,000 steps per day. I'm avoiding sweet tastes, and I'm going to meal prep most of my meals. So the first 2 things on that list we just discussed at length today. The next 2 are self-explanatory. And then the last one, the meal prepping. I have shared multiple videos before about meal prepping ideas, how I get everything together, how I figure out what I'm going to eat and how much of it and all that. But I will continue to do that too. So actually, as soon as we hop off this video, I am doing meal prep today. So I will film that, I'll put it all together and share that with you soon. As always, thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have any questions or comments down in the comment section. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I would love to have you be officially one of my tribe. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being my people, and have a really lovely day.